Good morning. Welcome to Midnight Ramblings, 12 midnight, at least here on the East Coast. That means we welcome the 22nd of April, 2024. It's funny, when we made it to 2024, I thought, wow, that is significant. I didn't feel that way in 2022, 2021. Of course, we had the craziness of COVID going on, but I did feel that way in 2020. I suppose 2010 as well. But 2024, wow, you feel like I've been on this road for a long time. 1956 to 2024 feels like a long time. Two people are watching so far. Well, make that four people. Good morning to you. If you're on the East Coast, or let me know what time zone you're in and where you're watching from. Thank you for that like. Four becomes 11, just like that. Welcome to Midnight Ramblings. We'll do this from time to time. Try to do it somewhat frequently. Doesn't have to be a long show. Could be half an hour, could be an hour, whatever. No pressure. That's one of the great things about overnights. I'm going to talk about night owls and some of the characteristics of night owls, and also maybe even time travel. These are overnight uh, subjects, right? Art Bell did them so well. George Norrie does them so well. And let's see here. We have Debbie from New Orleans. Well, that is on my bucket list, Debbie. See, when we come on at different times, we meet new friends, as long as some of our veterans that are with us, like on Saturday nights when we do worldwide ramblings. That'll probably be Friday night this coming week because I won't be around Saturday night. So, Debbie, yeah, Karen, my partner, has been to New Orleans, but I never have been. Do you enjoy it there? Do you like it? Um, do you live where all the action is happening, or kind of out of the French Quarter area? Yasmin, good morning from London. Well, good morning. We have quite a few people that watch from the UK. Uh, there's Michael. I don't know if he's watching right now or not. He's in London, and others that watch. Cheryl Everhart, hi Jack and family. Sandra, one of our regulars, hi Jack. I'm a real night owl. Happy to be doing this tonight. Well, I'm happy that you're here. Gail George, another one of our regulars. Um, one of our more recent regulars, I guess. 11 p.m. Yeah, you're Central Time, huh? Just like they are in Texas, where my son is. 11 p.m. here in Tennessee. Hope you're feeling better. I think I'm on the mend. I do. Um, I was pretty close to going to urgent care, but I think I'm on the mend. Lana Dye, DYE. Um, she's been with us for a while, fairly new family member. Good morning, Jack. Checking in from Georgia. Well, I know it was warm in Georgia today because we got a birthday call from uh, Karen's daughter. Karen's granddaughter was having the birthday today. So happy birthday. Um, happy birthday to Cassidy. Chantal joins us. Desjardins. Hello, what a nice shirt. Very artistic. um, to tell you the truth, it's a Walmart special, but I'm always on the lookout for what I call YouTube shirts when I'm out with Karen. And I don't mind if it's affordable like this one was. I don't want to spend too much for a shirt. But sometimes she'll see it in the on the horizon. She'll say, "I think there might be a YouTube shirt over there." Marty Greco. He joined us just last night for Worldwide Ramblings. Scott Baker, Barbara Eden in 1992, young still. Oh, she is 92. Yeah. Yeah, she is one of those women, Scott, that has maintained her look to a degree, to a large degree. Some people look totally different, and others maintain that look. I often say that Jimmy Sturr, the Polka King, who I follow and lives in Florida, New York, we'll be seeing him Saturday night in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Um, he still looks like Jimmy Sturr. You know, if you do certain things, and certainly one of them is color your hair, you have a chance at looking like you, somewhat like you used to look. It just depends. You know, not everybody gets that. Oh, I got a cough drop, but I'm still going to cough. I think some of it has to do with, of course, when I start to talk nonstop. Ted Richards, howdy, Jack and friends. 37 degrees. Yeah, I know. What is this? It's been much cooler in Tennessee. It was cool, right? My Tennessee friend, and might be another frosty morning again. Yeah, this global warming stuff just isn't happening. It's like it's cooler than normal. When Art Bell did his Coast to Coast AM show before George Norrie ended up taking over, he had a guest on. I wonder if that guy's still around. It was the name of his book was called Not by Fire, but by Ice. He was talking about the coming ice age. We'd all freeze to death in the end. I don't know that the scripture verifies that, though. That is the indication there. I think when I see those seals opened up, I don't think they're throwing snowballs in the Book of Revelation. Howdy to you, Stefan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh, You live in the suburbs of New Orleans, Debbie, I see, about 15 miles from the French Quarter. It was really interesting when they had that devastating storm. I don't know if that affected you a number of years ago, but you know, there were these prophets saying it's the judgment of God, the judgment of God. And what happened is the storm kind of took out the poor people's houses in the Bible Belt and left the French Quarter intact. So I don't think that theology, that prediction worked out so much. And once again, my nose is itching. Another weird thing that happens. I haven't told a lie yet, I swear. Um, it's not like I'm not capable of it. If I felt stressed and I thought the situation would just be better if I did, I might make the wrong choice, you know. Um, but yeah, I'd like to go. I'd like to go. Marilyn Hickey is here. No, I didn't thought of that name, that preacher, when I saw Marilyn H. Wouldn't it be funny if it was Marilyn Hickey? I think she's still with us. Glad you're feeling better. Hello from Texas. And that's where Marilyn Hickey would probably be. A lot of big ministers, big time ministers I'm talking about, moved their ministry to Texas. Judy Wright, now Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. Hello, Jack. Hi, Judy. Amazing. See, even at midnight, we get a lot of our regulars. Uh, Lana Di, happy birthday to Cassidy. Thank you. Yeah, she was here in 2022, Thanksgiving time, and they stayed at the hotel True, whatever they call it. It's one of those offshoots of a big chain, and they were here for about 6, 7 days. Stephen Spielich, I think you came on the other day and I didn't get a chance to say hello to you, so my apologies, Stephen Spielich. Even one hip chick. Hello, Jack and family. Ah, yes. Anastasia is here, not Anastasia or Anastasia. Anastasia, she likes pronounced that way. And I guess there is three ways to pronounce that name, and everybody picks the one that they like. It's a beautiful name in all three versions. Hello, Jack and everyone. Gail George says, very cool in Tennessee. Yeah, you're an hour from Nashville. Well, take that trip and visit John Meacham, who I just put up a video up, who's on MSNBC a lot. One of my favorite heroes, another hero that let me down and just started spouting nonsense and joins the uh, the evil progressives over at MSNBC and agrees with them. When you think someone has a brilliant mind and for years you are fed by what they say and you develop a confidence in them, and then one day, because of a hatred for an orange man, everything changes. Their whole philosophy seems to change, and they're fine with uh, an America that is becoming more and more unrecognizable. Not going to do a lot of politics, but I just thought of that when you said Nashville. Kay Jewelers is here. Hi, Kay. How are you? Kim Lackey, but she's not a lackey. She's an independent woman. Could be a guy, though. I always remember Kim. But if your name was an Asian last name, Kim, then I'd be more inclined to think you were a male. But I think we've established you're a female, right? But then again, I don't know your pronouns. I better be careful. Uh, Tom Gilliam. Hey, Jack, where you from, Tom? Can't remember where Kim is from either because, this is short term memory. Patty, Patty with an I is here. Patty Carter. Maybe you're a different Patty. Maybe we have two Patties with an I. Hello, Jack. Just listening in. Hope you're watching too. Shane West. Well, that's a good radio name. Elvis lives. Amen. I think that's true. We'll see. If 2024 doesn't bring us further into this story, then maybe not. Don't forget, I do have a video up here proposing the idea that he could be the love child son of Elvis. I just try to cover all bases. There's much more evidence to suggest that he is Elvis, but I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong, he said for the 10,000th time. You're from Arkansas, huh? Do you like living there, Tom? I've only been through there, coming back from Austin and Round Rock, Texas area, visit my children. My daughter no longer lives in Texas, but I'm not going to say where she lives. Um, Sandra, I hope no trolls are going to be arguing with us tonight. Yeah, just can't have that after a while. It takes the fun out of it. You know, you explain that uh, it is it is not the place. Obviously, if you did that in a Facebook group, like uh, Elvis Alive as Bob Joyce or something, you'd be blocked in a New York minute. So I ask, and if I'm ignored, and I see people are getting upset about it, you know, um, uh, I do what you would do if you had a channel. At some point, you got to block. You got to block, and you may have to block again, and then you may have to report because it'll be the same IP address, that kind of thing. Not what I want to do, but you know, should be taken care of, is what I'm saying. And by the way, I did not block Bob 1974. He just didn't come on last week. Last night, really. He didn't come on. I did not block him. He's usually respectful, usually. But hey, I'm trying to talk about other things too anyway. So maybe, but people will engage him, I guess. And as long as it doesn't get wacko. Good evening, Anne. Ladies and gents, Jack, we need more people in Arkansas to visit the church. There's no room, though, is there, Ann? I mean, my goodness. Have you ever had the experience, or have you seen people? I'm sure they said the church said it on the website that they end up in the fellowship hall watching on closed circuit TV. Now, at some point, you're going to get to meet the pastor and all that, but that's a real downer if you come from a long way. Are they going to expand over there and to another building? Um, I'm having a feeling now that I don't think that's going to happen. Of course, you can always do two services, but Pastor Bob preaches with a lot of vim and vigor. He's kind of like a Pentecostal preacher, and he's not a teacher per se, although he does teach. People know the difference in what I'm saying. There are verse by verse teachers that are kind of mellow and they go through it Charles Stanley style, the late Charles Stanley. And then there's people that are, more of an encourager and they use scripture. Certainly they do it, but then they kind of ad lib a little bit for a long time. Even if you're doing verse by verse preaching, there's plenty of room for ad lib as you reflect on the text. So, but I know people that, oh, it's got to be verse by verse teaching, let the Bible explain itself. That's what they will say. Doris, I live 45 miles north of Bowling Green. I've heard of Bowling Green. Shane West, some scars on his face. Yeah, there's the scars and the veins and the broken pinky crowd. Someone kind of got mad at me this week, Shane, a little bit. Not mad at me because that's not correct. She is very into that, the veins, the scars, and the facial expressions and stuff, and wanted me to kind of embrace it. And I never have. I've been doing the topic for 6.5 years. I don't do a lot of roll in video and I don't roll in pictures too much. Um, I have a tech guy I can use for that, but I can't use him all the time. I'm more the chronological storyteller. So when people say, that the scars and the veins are the same and what have you, I say cool, but it doesn't really, doesn't get me excited. I notice all the other things, all the other coincidences, dozens and dozens that make this interesting story. So um, if you have a pain in your ear, you don't go to the proctologist. You know what I mean? Been here 54 years. You're in Benton, are you, Tom Gilliam? Benton, Arkansas, to be precise. Wow. So you've been to the church, I assume, then, right? Why wouldn't you? Um, it seems nice. Will you be going to Hot Springs in April 10th and 11th? On the 11th of April, Pastor Bob is scheduled to bring the Household of Faith service to the Hot Springs Convention Center, and then there'll be a baptismal service afterwards, which you have to pre-book. See, one of the things that can happen, and they know it, is that people get baptized because of who may be doing the baptismal. He won't be able to do them all. There's going to be so many this year. Marty Greco says, Jack, I watched Pastor Bob's sermon from this morning. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet. And he welcomed some folks from London and France. And the Pope dropped by. Don't read into it, though. And everyone else from other states, and was joking about changing the name of the church. Yeah, the International... the International Small Town Church. Cheryl Larson. Hi, Jack. Howdy. The name Larson is special to me because I work with a gentleman in radio named Al Larson, one of the our local newscaster here, who was an absolute legend. Absolute legend. Look at that. We got 35, and it's 20 minutes after midnight. And Anastasia is talking to Patty, I guess. I didn't know you can highlight a name. Yeah, when it comes to tech stuff, I'm the last to know. I just tried and it didn't work. Well, I'll be able to give you zero advice on that, but someone else will. He said he had telomere extensions. What is that? Marty Greco. Yes, that was it. um, yeah, they come from all over the world. And they come, and there's only about 100 or so seats, so it's a tough ticket, and they're going to let the regulars in first. That's only fair if you go to the church there every week. Um, Sometimes a regular will give up their seat and sit in a folding chair in the corner or something. I don't know, but it is true. Sandra says, "You live in PA, but I watch his services every week." Yes, I'm not too far from Matamoros, but you're probably further in, huh? Jack, I actually live less than a half mile from Bob's church and have never been there. That is wild, Tom. That is wild. I plan to go and just check everything out. Well, hopefully you'll go expecting to have a visit from the Lord. Go to praise the Lord. I don't know what your faith is though, so I'm not trying to shove anything down your throat. Um, so midnight ramblings, night owls. Night owls are people who prefer to stay up late. Yes. And some say they have advantages over morning people. For example, some studies show that night owls are more creative, can develop a non conventional spirit, and you can find original solutions. Night owls may also be more flexible, uh, mentally alert. That kind of surprised me. But again, we're not talking about people who work midnight to 8. That's a whole different thing. Those are people that won't be so alert, especially since they never get a full 8 hours sleep during the day. Usually, it's impossible, and able to function on less sleep. You function on less sleep because you don't want to sleep half the day away. That's one of the problems. We'll talk about that in a bit. Um, Other studies have found night owls to be more extroverted, which means outgoing and socially confident. But they can also be, on the negative side, narcissistic, narcissistic, and machiavellistic. Machiavellistic. I'm not saying it right, but it means cunning, the ability to be manipulative on occasion. Um, Night owls can have drive, they can be impulsive, and they can take risk. They're into risk taking. Um, on the negative side, the night owl can be indifferent to morality. They travel to the beat of a different drummer, lack empathy. Oh, I didn't want to hear that one. Uh, and have a strategic focus on self interest, which means I would think you could take from that that night owls are more likely to want to do their own business and not work for someone all their lives, or at least have something on the side that hopefully makes them some money that they, really have a passion to do. They're not into the 9 to 5 routine. They're not into the early morning. Now, on a beautiful late spring or summer morning, you might say, gee, I don't want to get up at 10, 11 o'clock. I want to experience the beautiful early morning. But once you're out there sitting in the yard or whatever you're doing, you're saying, well, it's nice as I hear all these cars, people rushing to work and stuff like that. So, well, there it is. I mean, it's almost like that song, Is That All There Is by Peggy Lee. I've been up in the gazebo at 9 o'clock in the morning saying, well, this is beautiful. But there's no rhythm to it. There's no rhythm to it. The rhythm of the night. Remember that song? Was that the Barge that did that song? and there's just something special because I love the nighttime. I like to boogie. Well, I did like to boogie. I used to have a favorite nightclub. Now I have a favorite pharmacy. You've heard that line, haven't you? Yeah. So, indifferent to morality s- caught my attention. Can us night people say that we're a little lax in the morals and more likely to be creative in the bedroom? It is midnight ramblings. We could talk a little bit about sexuality if you wanted to, but I'm not going to push it. You know, um, if you're creative, if you're a creative night person, that creativity can spill into many different areas. It can spill into many different areas. Um, but I think in terms of the sexuality part, it's there was this guy on Reels. Do you watch the Reels? Do you check them out on Facebook? Gee, I should have written it all down, or even found out if I could share his video with you, which for me is a major thing. I don't know how to roll in something live. I don't have a team of 4 people behind me. I don't have a control booth over there. There's a window over there. And so it's really hard for me to do this. No sex talk, says Anne. Um, just stick to hobbies. See, there'll be people that aren't comfortable with that. There are people that aren't comfortable with that. Um, Judy is very passionate and creative. Um, then she talks about Randy Meisner being in Poco before the Eagles. I think she's trying to change the subject. But this is the kind of thing, and this will happen in different topics too. Like someone said, no politics, no politics. Well, the world is on fire. So we have to talk about it sometime, but not necessarily on Midnight Ramblings. You know, when is the right time? I'm fighting the big boys that talk about politics and people like Megan Kelly, and I guess Candace Owens will be coming back on soon. She's separated ways with Ben Shapiro's streaming service, Caller, the Daily Caller. So she's not on there anymore, and she's going to have her own website, and she'll probably hook up with Rumble or something like that. Watch Rumble. I have 4 shares of stock. And yeah, I bought some Truth Social stock and not that many shares. And boy, did that take a nosedive. Um, but when it got really low, I bought a few more and it's starting to come up. That's one of those stocks that you buy because you like the orange man and you want to see America saved from the catastrophe that we are headed for, or at least slow down the bleeding. And you know, if he were to win the presidency in November, that's stock could shoot way up. Oh, I'd love to be in one of those stocks where, like if we had bought Facebook when it first came out, or Bitcoin, or Apple, those kind of things. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I'd like to have that experience of I bought this stock at $70 and now it's $465 a share or more. Kathleen Whataburger Wiedenbacher is here. I'm going with no politics and let's go sex talk. See, different opinions. Yeah. I'm not going to do politics tonight. I'm not going to ban people talking about responsibly talking about, um, hey, look at the book of I did a whole video on this, not one of my more popular videos, Songs of Solomon, in the Bible, which is a celebration of sexuality. So I'm not banning anybody from talking about that, but I'm not going to be the one that gets hung out to dry, you know? Yeah, In the Heat of the Night by Poco. Good song, good song. They had a couple of hits, right? I played them on the radio, and I certainly played In the Heat of the Night. In the Heat of the Night? Yeah. not the heat of the moment. That was Glenn Fry, right? Miami Vice music. The late Glenn Fry, lead singer. Well, there were two lead singers, and one of them is still living from the Eagles, Don Henley. But Glenn Fry sang lead about half the time, and he died in a New York City hospital. Fairly young man. I think he was in his late 60s. So we found out Judy is very passionate. Yeah, I don't know about polka. Well, it's not for everyone, but the great thing about Jimmy Sturr, Judy, is that he plays big band. He plays country, some rock and roll. It's not just polka, and that has brought him some criticism in the polka industry, and they're jealous of those 18 Grammys that he's won as well. He's a man who knows how to make money doing this, and not all of them do. You should see Jimmy's candy apple red BMW convertible. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, here's someone new saying, "What are these people talking about?" Ruthie Kincannon. Sex is not all that unless you are with your soulmate. Sounds like a Christian point of view. Um, Men don't really think like that, Ruthie. We think more like sex without love ain't bad. that's that's the difference between a man and a woman. A man and a woman, and I'm not saying all men, but I'm saying most men. Um, there's a book written by a Christian teacher named Every Man's Battle. Every Man's Battle. And it's all about, you know, every man's battle with sexuality. And men and women are different in this area. They are different. Uh, Scott Baker's reminding us Sophia Loren, one of the most beautiful women of all time, 90 years young. God bless her. Yes, women live longer than men mostly. The Christian Connection video channel. Well, you can hit me with a few scriptures now, and then that would be always welcome. Blessings, brother. Flawed brother that I am. I hate those prayer symbols. They're so overused. Everybody uses them, and I swear, sometimes it's like it's become like "Have a nice day." It doesn't mean you're not sincere in using it. I'm just saying that, boy, they are overused, especially with the sunglasses next to it. I have to decipher that. I have plenty of experiences, and it's the best with your soulmate. Well, I'm not going to question that. I guess I would agree with that, Ruthie, and thank you for being honest about your plenty of experiences. Because if a man does that, he's a stud. If a woman does that, he's a you know what. She's a you know what, and that's the double standard that we have here. Love and caring is necessary for me. Well, okay, yeah. Ted is 97 years old, though. Keep that in mind. Um, my husband has been the same for 40 years. My husband has been the same for 40 years. Well, tell him to do something new in his life. Stephen, hubba hubba. Yeah, guys are going to be different than women in this area. We should be able to talk a little bit about this in the midnight hour. Now, I do realize there's a replay thing. Hello, replay crowd. Please hit the subscribe, the like, if you like, which is questionable for some, right? And hit the notification bell so you'll know when we come on. So we don't just come on to do midnight ramblings. We'll come on. Sometimes I came on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon a few weeks ago, and we got some new people that we had never had before. And yeah, yeah, it it was nice to see. You always want to build. Subscribers in general, though, don't really mean a lot. It means a lot in terms of, well, I shouldn't say that. It means a lot. First of all, I'm honored that anybody would hit the subscription button, but it also means that the more you have, the more YouTube will be prone to let others know your video exists. You have to, at least you used to have to, I don't know how it works now. You have to have 1,000 subscribers to be able to go live. Um, And at 1,000 subscribers, that's when you can monetize your videos. So it means a whole lot. But I'm saying that that doesn't mean they're going to watch you, and that you're going to do a video, and it's all based on the title and whether they think they're going to like it. They subscribe because they like the video they were watching at that time. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll ever watch you again. So they're not the core audience. The core audience is right here. The core audience is in the live shows, the people that show up from time after time. Oh, there's a song I'm sick of by Cyndi Lauper. I don't listen to 80s radio, but Time After Time was played a bazillion times by Cyndi Lauper. My story is that I live with my ex. That's right. I remember you telling me that, Kathleen Whataburger, who is gay. That's interesting, but will not admit it. So, no soulmate, and I'm not sure if there is one for me out there. Yeah. Yeah. Nancy, haven't heard from you in a while, Nancy DeMarco. Caught you. Hello, Jack. Hi, Nancy. I'm glad you're back. Missed you. Thought about it just the other day. I said, well, we didn't hear from Nancy. That's true. I really did. One hip chick says, happy belated birthday, Ted. Ted Richards. Well, I thought he was 97 years old. No? How old are you, Ted? I could have missed it in the stream because, it's going by pretty fast for this hour. 49 people, and they're typing away. It's a good age period in the 50s, 50s to 60s. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Um, but if someone said I could be 18 again, I would say probably yes. But can you imagine what this world is going to be like in a number of years when it's this bad now with all the things going on? It's just, I mean, these kids that don't know their arse from their elbow are going to be in the leadership position. And I can't imagine if God allows this, what living in America will be then, because the people down in front of Columbia University in New York City, they couldn't run a hot dog stand, and they wouldn't want to. That's work. No. So they're just wasting their parents' college money. They won't graduate. They won't finish. They're actually looks like they're going to ruin the university. It's an amazing thing when we start treating Jewish people like this were many decades ago, that we're reverting back to that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting in every way. The good book, Ruthie, seems to indicate that it's all downhill from here. But if Orange Man gets back in, if Mr. Donald Trump gets back in, and I know you're not all Trumpers here, I understand, um, he'll slow the bleeding and some good things will happen again. Some good things will happen. I believe that. Of course, there's always unexpected things that can happen that we cannot foresee. Hello, Hearts Wild. I see you in the mix. Hi, Jack. After midnight. Yeah, with an itchy nose again, and now I'm itchy by my eye. Sigh. Hi, Eileen Langley. You're new. Be no America as we have known it. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen. Um, so, I'm going to talk a little bit about time machines. I already talked about night owls. So if you missed that, watch the replay. Anybody wants to expand on night people and night owls? Is Steve Urkel at the Polka Nights, Jack? Oh, you don't like the polka, huh? It's funny that you say that because if Steve Urkel or the actor who played him came to a Jimmy Stare show, all the polka fans would envelop him and tell him how wonderful it is that you're here. Thanks for coming. Be sure to come back. Is there anything we can get for you? Jimmy's music. You like Jimmy's music, do you? That kind of thing, because we don't get any black people at the polka show. And on rare occasions when we do, they must be sick of all these older polka fans coming at them, because we're being overly cordial because we're thrilled that they're there. It's not something that attracts black people, polka music. Some of the styles, of course, with the accordion stuff, reminds me of Mexican music. Janet Williams, normal isn't coming back. Jesus is. That's a great line, Janet Williams. That's a bumper sticker. You might want to put that on a bumper sticker, Janet. If you don't, someone will. Um, I agree with you, Stephen. And I'd like it even better if he did pick DeSantis because I'd like it to be DeSantis after him. But no, Jack, I was just making a joke. Nothing against Poco. Well, okay, Marty, because you're Italian, right? And you probably would rather hear Dino. And I'm a big Dino fan. I love Dean Martin and Tony Bennett, and of course the chairman of the board. Love all the Italian crooners, but I had a special affection, as much as I love Frank. I have a special affection for Dean Martin. He was so underrated. He was so underrated. Yes, I've known some Grecos. I went to school with a Greco and went over to the Greco house. I do remember that. But um, I don't know. There's something about polka music that if you're feeling down in the dumps and you put on a great polka band like Jimmy Sturr, Molly B, and Squeezebox, for example, you'll just start feeling better. I missed what you said before, not in this day and age, Jack. So I'm not sure. I can miss it because there's a surprising amount of people here. 52, 52 anti-Rue. Who slew anti-Rue? Who slew Shelley Winters? I've told my Shelley Winters story enough. I won't tell it now. But I did live in Hollywood, California, so I got a lot of those stories from Hollywood. My year in Hollywood, actually, I've been out there 3 times before and stayed anywhere from 4 days to a month. But I finally stayed for a year to get it out of my system because this was getting ridiculous back and forth to LA. It was screwing up my radio career. Um, so I had to get it out of my system. And after 1 year of Hollywood, I was done with California. I was done except for a visit in 1998. Yeah. About being 18 again. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we knew what we knew then, huh? If we knew what was coming, we'd change some things, wouldn't we? If that was possible. So that leads into what if we had a time machine, right? What if we had a time machine? Someone told me that one of my people that I correspond with, it's probably a subscriber. I don't know that he hit the button, but I'm not going to say anything more about him. But someone said about that person, he's into time travel. I thought, well, I'm not saying I believe that it's possible, but I sure would like it to be. There are time periods like a more innocent time, like in the mid '60s, visiting Manhattan. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. You felt a lot safer. Time travel is the hypothetical activity of traveling into the past or future. Time travel is a widely recognized concept in philosophy and fiction, particularly science fiction. Its fiction time travel is typically achieved through the use of a hypothetical device known as everybody say it, time machine. Yes. Um, Time travel via speed. How do you travel in time travel in real life? This will make you think of a movie. This is the easiest and most practical way to time travel into the far future. Go really fast. Anybody thinking about the DeLorean yet? How fast they had to get it up in the parking lot of the mall before the flux capacitor would work. Go really fast. According to Einstein's theory of special relativity, when you travel at speeds approaching the speed of light, time slows down for you relative to the outside world. Um, so get yourself a Lamborghini and go to a road where nobody is. According to Einstein's special theory of relativity, time flow depends on how fast you're moving. The quicker you travel, the slower seconds pass. And according to Einstein's general theory of relativity, gravity also affects clocks. Yeah, there was an episode of some show that I saw in the last 4 months where uh, time will be a minute or two faster uh, when you put a clock up really high or something like that. The most forceful of the gravity nearby, the slower time goes. The more forceful of the gravity nearby, the slower time goes. I read somewhere that traveling to the future is more a distinct possibility than going back in time. And I don't want to go into the future. Oh boy, that could be really bad. I want to go back in time. I want to go back in time to the night Justine was showing up in my radio studio at 3 in the morning with the hot bagels. That's how a man thinks. I'm sorry, Anne. I'm sorry. Um, but we don't know of anybody that's really time traveled, any human being I'm talking about. Um, and then, of course, there's that paradox about time travel is possible. Were it possible, you could change the past. Impossible to change the past. Well, they did it on Dark Shadows. I watch that show with Karen all the time, the original Dark Shadows series. We're in the 700s right now, and Barnabas has just come from 1969, and he's in 1840. So he did it. So back to the live stream. What do you think about that? Just saw a post on Facebook saying that Einstein's first wife was also brilliant and did all his math. See, a good woman is what is always needed. She did all his math for him. They divorced due to his infidelity. Uh huh. I didn't know he was married more than once. So, if you have 4 kids, Anne, and you find out your husband has been cheating on you, is forgiveness possible for the kids' sake and for your marriage sake, or will you become like a human nuclear war and start lobbing weapons and grenades and just destroy everything within 100 miles? Just wondering. I know people that would definitely destroy everything, and of course the kids. Didn't I say it right? Capacitor, the flux capacitor. Um, yeah. So I was just wondering, hey, Neo is joining us as well. You met your soulmate, Ruthie, in your 70s? The ultimate love forever? Forever? Then you must be a Jehovah Witness, because I think Jehovah Witnesses feel that they're going to stay with their earthly partner in the afterlife, but not in heaven, because heaven is full. God just did not create enough room in heaven, so the people that are there are there, and there's no vacancy. But don't worry, because Earth will become a living paradise. uh, the ones that don't get sent downstairs will be living in a living paradise. And, it's probably a cut rate version of heaven, but it'll still be wonderful. What men can come up with, it's just unbelievable to me. Um, so I do know people that have met, in their fourth quarter, have met somebody very special they would consider their soulmate. I understand that. We'll be caught up one day out of the earthly realm uh, that's bound by time and pulled into God's heavenly realm, not bound by it. Our bodies are bound by time, our spirits are not. Yes, that is what the Bible teaches us. Um, if you are one of God's children. There's a difference between, I think, being a creation and a child of God. I don't believe in the gospel of inclusion where everybody gets in. I believe, as the Bible says, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Saved from what? Saved from an eternity separate from God. I'm not a hardcore believer in the eternal torture chamber. Theologians disagree on that, and um, I didn't mean to really get into that, but separation. If you don't receive the gift, if you say no to the gift, I think you're allowed to say no. But why would you? Why would you, Neo? The people at the International Space Station, time goes slower for them. Oh God. What if you get there and you realize you just can't do this? This is going to happen someday. Has this ever happened? I don't think it has, where someone says, "Look, I got to get out of here. I'm going crazy." You know, I mean, people start a job and they realize, man, did I pick the wrong job? What happens if you get all the way to the International Space Station? There is nothing in me that would want to do that, that would want to be inside the spaceship for how long did they go for? Is it a year? Is it 9 months? Is it more? I don't even know. Um, Living in a cubicle in space, I can't do it on Earth. Yeah, right. Well, you shouldn't be living in a storage shed, and you shouldn't. Ted Richards, hope you are feeling better ASAP, Doris. You're feeling poorly, Doris. I'm sick, so I can't seem to text right. Jack, I hope you keep feeling better. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, Doris. We just pray that God puts his hand on you as you sleep and you experience a total healing so you wake up rested and healthy in the morning. God bless you. If Barnabas can uh, if Barnabas can do that, Elvis can too. I don't know if Elvis would have a time machine. What they used in Dark Shadows, and this is just for entertainment purposes, was the I Ching. The I Ching, the throwing of the sticks with the great actor um, Thayer David, who played a lot of characters on Dark Shadows. So, yeah. So, having a time machine seems like a wonderful thing. There are things I'd like to experience. I'd like to experience a more innocent New York City. I'm not going there now. It's become like a war zone. I wouldn't feel at all comfortable there. It's got to be hurting Broadway. Excuse me. It's got to be hurting Broadway. But I used to love going to New York, but it was often for the wrong reasons when I got older. Young man looking to sin. Well, here's someone new, Peggy Butler. You're saying goodnight, and I didn't know you were here. From Peggy Sue. Hello, Peggy Sue, and good night, heart. I'm glad you dropped by, Peggy. I don't even know where you're from. If I missed you the first time around, I'm sorry. When I'm doing content, sometimes, especially, I lose track. But thank you for stopping, Peggy, and hope for you to stop by again. Uh, Rita Shelton is here. Rapture will be our most wonderful trip. I'm so looking forward to that event. Yeah. I told the Lord I'm more than willing to wait for the rapture. I don't have to, die, fall down on the floor, clutching my chest. I'm willing to wait, but I may have made a bad decision as I see what this country is becoming and problems all the way around the world as well, huh? A time machine would have to take into account time and space. I hate that heart that gets in my way, as the plan is always moving, and the planet is always moving and never in the same spot. Good night, Rita Shelton. I just saw you and you're gone. Well, I hope you come back again, as we do with Peggy. She says, first time posting. I live in Ohio. All right. Very good. I have been through your state, haven't spent too much time there. Been through Cincinnati and Cleveland. So, very, very good. And Janet Williams talks about the rapture. It is the ultimate time travel, right? The ultimate time travel. Heart's Wild, yeah, still with us. Um, and Shell joins us as we're getting ready to say goodnight. The Midnight Rambling shows will be kind of short, you know. We're not going to go too far into the night, but absolutely pray for Trump. It's going to be a very trying week for him. He didn't even get to have his rally in Wilmington, North Carolina, Saturday because the weather was not cooperating and they advised against it. They had major hail where I used to live in South Carolina, Rock Hill, South Carolina. I see they had very big hail balls in that area. I love my time in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Thought it was had a nice feel to it. You know, sometimes you move to a place and it just doesn't feel like home. That's what Hollywood felt like when I lived out there. You know. Hey Jack, who do you think was the best actor of the Dracula movies? Not really my era. You know, you're making me think of um, the Johnny Depp character. He used Bela Lugosi when nobody else would because Bela was addicted to heroin by then, you know. So he did a lot of the. I don't know if you could even call what's his name's movies. The character Johnny Depp played. Um, if they were B movies or C movies, you know. But um, I let's see. Did Frank play um, Dracula, who was in a relationship with Whoopi Goldberg? What is his name? He was in Lolita with Jeremy Irons. All of him was in that movie, surprisingly. And he was in that great show on Showtime. Was it Showtime? Yeah. Uh, Kidding with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey, by the way, is officially retired now. He said it would have to be something so wonderful that was offered to him. I think it's obvious that he has struggled with mental illness and depression and what have you. Jim Carrey, he's looking so thin these days, too. Jeannie Thompson is here. No, I'm not talking about Ted Danson. Did he ever play Dracula? He just finished Curb Your Enthusiasm, the final season, a few months back, and those episodes are airing now. It was the last season, of course, anyway, for Richard Lewis, who passed away. What a funny man Richard Lewis was. I love Johnny Depp. I watched his trial. Everybody did, right? Captain Jack Sparrow. Yes. Yes. I think Secret Window, I like that more than I can enjoy some of Captain Jack Sparrow because I know he's really doing Keith Richards. You know, that's where he bases it on. And I guess, did Keith Richards come on to play his father in one of the later movies? I never even saw it. And I want to see that one. I do. You like Edward Scissorhands, do you? Gail George? Yeah. Johnny has his fan base. He really does. Um, and I never watched any of those movies, Jack. Whatever movies you're talking about, who knows? I once I say it, I've pretty much forgotten what I just said. Jeremy Iron is great. He really, really is Chantal, right? Um, As much as I like James Mason, who's no longer with us, he was in The Verdict with Paul Newman and many movies much earlier than that. And was in the original Lolita with Shelley Winters. As much as I love him, and he had such a magical voice, Jeremy Irons blew him away in the remake of Lolita. Jeremy Irons took it to a whole another level. And Frank Langella, Frank Langella was in Lolita, the remake, and of course, was Whoopi Goldberg's man. They lived right here in Tuxedo Park in a gated community. And Frank Langella, who played Nixon to a T, one of my favorite all-time actors, right up there with Anthony Hopkins, Pacino, and Jack Lemmon, and many, many others. Leslie Nielsen was a good Dracula, really. I didn't see that, Neo. Must have been a comedic. I know that Leslie did serious movies too, and then he got stuck. After Airplane, he got stuck in doing those funny kind of movies because he was so good at it. So good at it. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah. Keith Bolton says, hi, Keith Bolton. Just enjoying the show. Can look into a military program called Operation Looking Glass based on the movie Contact with Jodie Foster. Maybe. I don't know if it would be for me. I always have to ask, is that something that I would do a good job handling something like that? But for Midnight Ramblings, it's a pretty good topic, Keith. Yeah, I did see that movie. Seen a lot of Jodie Foster movies, starting with The Little Girl Down the Lane. That was the first time I saw Martin Sheen. And Scott Jacoby was in it, and many other actors, and a young Jodie. And I knew that she was destined for stardom. You could just tell, You could just tell. I like the Fearless Vampire Killers. And movie great cinematography, a must watch. Sharon Tate was in that, huh? What a terrible ending she had, right? What a terrible ending she had. So, are you younger than 40? And tell us your age now. I'm curious. You say you must be over 40. You can tell them. See this hair here? I can't even see that white hair. That's how all my hair really is. I'm due for a paint job. But I'll keep the white. This is an old person's thing. I'm 68 years old. I'm less than 2 years away from 70 years old. I can't believe it myself. Karen's a little younger than me, but we were in the same class together. How did that happen? That we were both in St. Joseph's second grade in 1964, because I failed second grade and it was my second time around. You can laugh about that, but I was in Montreal, Canada, and the curriculum was completely different. And all of a sudden, like in March of the school year, I'm thrust back into New York, which I was glad to be back. And I'm thrust into second grade at St. Joseph's, and it was completely different, much easier in Montreal, I would say. That's what I remember. I couldn't catch up. And so I failed second grade, and I'm so glad I did, because the people I met, including the person I'm with now, excuse me, they were just a great bunch of people, great bunch of people. Some of them I would know for years to come. A number of them have passed away for one reason or another, drank themselves to death, smoked themselves to death, committed suicide, at least two of them. Yeah. Yeah, I've said that before, Kathleen. I lived in Montreal for 6 months in 19 um, so it was really 65 then when I saw Karen, right? Because we were in Montreal from the summer to Christmas time. And then I came back and I had an operation in Danbury, Connecticut. I had an abscess on my neck, and my dad's insurance wasn't going to work in Canada. So only for 6 months I lived in Canada. My mom had distant relatives there. It was a crazy decision for her to make, for us to go way out there. Nothing against Canada. I'm just saying that I was only there for 6 months. Same here, and most of my longtime friends and family. How much younger is Karen than you? She's 66. She'll be 67 September 8th. And I'm 60. I just turned 68 in March. So there you go, you know. Um, Jodie Foster was great in True Detective. Maybe I didn't give it enough of a chance, Stephen Garvis. I watched the first 20 minutes of episode one. She was, here's the bossy sheriff saying stuff like, well, we got to get on this. We're a little late to the dance, and she just, I don't know. What can I say? It's just not how I like my Jody. Um, I just couldn't see her as a sheriff. I just Now as Agent Starling in Silence of the Lambs, I could see that all right. And that was Jody to me at her best. You know that I've said this before. Not everybody was here when I said it because I just learned it from a Jodie Foster interview where Anthony Hopkins goes. I think this is maybe the first or second time she meets him. He's in the cell, and she meets him, and he goes into this rant about there you are with your cheap shoes, and you're from a town where all you did was get humped on Saturday nights, that kind of thing. He ad libbed the whole thing. It was not in the script. He ad-libbed the whole thing, so she reacted to that with water in her eyes, being in total surprise that he was saying any of these things. And he said it flawlessly, and the director was happy with the take and said, "Wow, Anthony. I mean, now if you were a lesser known actor, we might chastise you for going off script, but that was perfect. That was perfect." Henry A. Bradley is here, but that's really Shirley here in Arden, North Carolina. You come on late, huh? Well, dang, I left Maine 2 years ago, huh? Because you just couldn't take those winters anymore, right? Somebody's talking about Maine, where we'll be going maybe the third week in July. Going to go up to the Renaissance Fair in Sanford, and old Orchard Beach, and Shanes of Maine, Martin's. You got to go to Martin's if you're in Maine. If you, I'm sure you know about Martin's. Great store. They're in various locations in Maine, but only in Maine. Only in Maine. Um, Jodie Foster was in the Best Time Machine movie. Did I see that? I don't remember it. Um, yeah. So what a bunch! What a bunch here we have. Um, I'm so appreciative for you joining us for Midnight Ramblings. Jack, when you were in radio, what singers did you meet? Well, it depends whether I was doing Christian radio for 11 years. I met a lot of singers there that you may not know. If I say Jeff Moore, Alvin Slaughter, these are people I've interviewed. Never met Bob Carlyle, unfortunately. Um, but I met a lot of them in that. In terms of my days in playing the oldies and playing popular music, um, met. Um, I met the first interview I ever did in radio was a country icon that I didn't even realize he was an icon. I was brand new to radio, and Whispering Bill Anderson, a true country legend, was coming to Jamestown, New York, birthplace of Lucille Ball, and they wanted me to go out and interview him. And I had played a few songs, but I didn't know that this guy was the legend that he was. I was new to country music, so I wish I would have been better prepared. I can't imagine. I tried to just approach it like Larry King often approached his interviews, by just asking him as someone that wanted to learn everything about him. He was very gracious. I'm sure he knew that I knew very little about him. But the weird thing is fast forward to 1979, and I'm living in Hollywood, California, and I get tickets because you're always being offered tickets on Hollywood Boulevard to this brand new game show. And who is the host of the game show? Bill Anderson. I can't remember what it was called, but these were pre-season. These were test shows, is what they were. I think I even became a contestant. But the show never aired. So I wrote Bill Anderson years later, much more recent, and I explained all that. So that motivated him to actually answer me, because I was asking for advice about how to make things happen and grow and what have you. And he said, "Well, Jack, what I find is the harder I work, the luckier I get." I'm so glad that you were at the test shows and that interview back in Jamestown. I'm really glad to hear from you. Very nice man. Very nice man. Um, Most of my interviews were Christian singers and groups. Um, I I had my David Crosby though experience. Told this story a few times. It was right here at the Orange County Fair, and I am at that point calling myself Jackie London. For a while, I was Jackie London with my big permed afro and my silver sateen jacket that said Jackie London right here on the back, 92 Rock 7. And I'm just there to see the show for free, because this is the first time my radio station is going to announce the show, is going to get to come out and announce the show. And it was going to be our program director, the one who hired me along with cousin Brucey. He hired me to first do Sunday nights, but now I'm working 6 days a week as the overnight jock. And that's back when overnight was, I had an audience. And so I'm sitting there and I see Jim Fry coming at me from the racetrack, and he's coming into the stands where I am, and he says, "Jack, we finally get to do a show instead of WPDH in Poughkeepsie, the classic rock station, and David Crosby doesn't want an announcer. Can you believe that? He doesn't want an announcer. Oh, we can stand backstage and read who's coming up next. Huey Lewis was going to be coming in a few weeks and all that. We can do that, but we're not allowed to go on stage." I'm so ticked off. um, can you do that? Can you do that? I said, "Well, sure, Jim, I'll do it." So I went backstage, and they handed me the paper with everything on there. They handed me the microphone. These were roadies, and then they walked away. And I looked at the microphone cord. It must have been like, I don't know, 15 feet long. And I just said, "Oh, screw it." And I just walked out on that stage and I said, "Hey, everybody, I'm Jackie London from 92 Rock 7. Welcome to Crosby, Stills, and Nash." And I hear the roadie saying, "What the hell's he doing? What the hell's he doing?" And so I never miss a beat. I'm going through who's coming, and they come up behind me, and there's like maybe 3,000 people there, and they grab hold of my jacket, and they're just trying to push me backwards. And I pretend I don't even notice this. Uh, there's a guy giving me the finger in the front row, some greaser guy, and I just did my thing, and then that was that. And as I'm going away, I put the mic down and I say to the guys, "You guys are really unprofessional." They say, "We're unprofessional." I got out of there quick and went back to my seat. But that's my Crosby, Stills, and Nash story. And I'm sticking to it, Hearts Wild. I'm sticking to it. Um, Wow, we still have active people commenting. 39 watching right now. And but I never saw Elvis. I never saw Elvis. I saw Elton John numerous times. Yeah, he's still living, Anastasia. He's still living. Whispering Bill. He's got a song that Jimmy Sturr does. In fact, Bill Anderson recorded with Jimmy Sturr and did a whole new version of it. It's called "How Married Are You, Marianne?" On a scale of 1 to 10, how married are you, Marianne? Yeah, it's a Bill Anderson song. Whispering Bill, legend, legend. There's probably somebody I'm forgetting though, that I might have interviewed, but it's mostly Christian artists, Christian groups, Kim Boyce and people like that I played when I was on the Sound of Life radio network. So I think I'm. Yeah, that was weird, Hearts Wild. That was weird, but I'm surprised I did that. I'm surprised I did that. What if David Crosby was so mad he refused to take the stage? I would have been in a heap of trouble. I would have been thrown out of there. I would have been thrown out of there. Like maybe I was at Household of Faith. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? TCB, baby, taking care of business. Never got to see Bachman Turner Overdrive. I used to call them for years Bachman Turner Overdrive on the radio till I heard Randy Bachman call himself Randy Bachman. There was a few songs I did that too that I got wrong. One is on the tip of my tongue. Let's see. Almost get it off. Oh yeah, you Masakela grazing in the grass. I said you Masakela for 20 years till I heard an interview with you Masakela. There were ones like that. You just you never realized you were saying the wrong thing, Anastasia. What is your favorite Christian artist, Jack? Wow. Janet Williams, contemporary. I started in 1990 knowing very little about contemporary Christian music and got to know it real fast. There were some real favorites. Carmen Licciardello was one of my favorites. Went to Nassau Coliseum because I was working for the Christian Network, so we got backstage passes, and my kids got to meet him, and he signed some stuff. And so Carmen, his most famous song, I think, would have to be "Satan, Bite the Dust." And he had so many great songs. Um, got cancer in 2000 something, kind of rebounded from it and did another tour. It came back and he passed away. Um, Steve Camp was very precious to me. Songs like Stranger to Your Holiness is a great Steve Camp song, or You Cover Me. You Cover Me by Steve Camp. Stephen Curtis Chapman, wonderful. The Great Adventure, and many other songs. Um, Sandy Patty, she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar, so I could relate to her even more because she did things she should have never done and then try to cover it up. Sound like somebody we know? um, Never met Sandy Patty though. I got to see Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo at Faith Assembly of God in Poughkeepsie with my second wife. That was magical. They came out and everybody they didn't know how they were going to do in a church, although they had played churches before. Big church, I'm saying like 800 seats maybe. And everybody just stood and gave them a standing ovation that lasted for a long time. And that really warmed them up to say, yeah, we love you. We know who you are. And we adore you, Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo. Oh, yeah, I love those Fifth Dimension songs. And of course, her solo songs as well. The Wedding Bell Blues. So, yeah, that guy 6 comes in at the tail end here. It's amazing. It's amazing. Um, who's at Pastor Bob's church now? A lot of famous people have stopped by. including Glenn Harden, I'm told. Maybe a member of the Sweet Inspirations, the Elvis backup group. Mere coincidences that we don't even believe in if we're Christians, right? We don't believe in coincidences. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens in 2024. Keep a lookout, Marty. Keep a lookout. I thought you were going to sleep, Shelton, but Rita Shelton, but it's just too fascinating, right? um, uh, I've seen Amy Grant in concert in Canandaigua, New York. That's my radio station was heard in Canandaigua, New York. We were in Chautauqua County. WBUZ in Fredonia is in Chautauqua County. I saw at the Chautauqua County Center for the Arts, I saw Kreskin. He was great. Anybody remember Kreskin, the mentalist? Really good stuff there. And I went up to Buffalo. Who did I see in Buffalo besides the Buffalo Sabres? I did go to a Sabres game for some reason. And they're real serious about their hockey. And, of course, the Buffalo Bills up there. John Kerry and Elvis to resemble each other. John Kerry? John Kerry was meant to play Lurch on the Addams Family. What did they call him on the cover of the New York Post? John Kerry, a fossil fool. Fossil fool. I thought that was a great headline. Love to Pastor Joyce. Yes, absolutely. May God keep him. And who knows how he will use him this year, huh? No, there's nobody that looks quite like Elvis, nobody that looks quite like Elvis. Many have come close, though. Many have come close. But there was, just a double portion of good looking when it comes to Elvis. Just all came together, especially when he dyed the hair black, right? Ah, well, I think that should be it. I always go longer than I say I'm going to go because you people are so wonderful. But we will do midnight ramblings again when it all feels right in my gut. I've learned not to make broad declarations because then I regret doing so. And look, Bill Presley at the last moment. Hi, Jack, just tuning in. Well, watch the replay, but I think we could probably go all night and maintain somewhat of an audience. I mean, I used to do 5 hours a night, every night, live on the radio just down the road at a big castle, which used to be a state armory building. I was on from 1 to 6. And of course, I wasn't talking all the time. I was playing music and talking, maybe every second or third song. Hearts Wild says, I live outside of Buda. Is that what you're saying? Are you in Texas? I'm not sure. Yeah, the night is very special, Hearts Wild. It really is. So good night to everybody. To have 46 watching and 42 likes. Thank you for hitting the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Pastor Bob Joyce, Household of Faith, at 1:24 in the morning. I even have the picture of Pastor Bob Joyce. Wouldn't it be something if that was him? I'm sure that it's possible to fake that. That's an old picture. Yeah. I saw that picture as I was reviewing pictures not too long ago. Yeah, you didn't have to put household of faith. I think Pastor Bob Joyce would have been enough. I am ready, willing, and so far the Lord has made me able to talk to Pastor Bob anytime he wants to. I mean, heck, when I began talking about him in 2018, I said if Pastor Bob is in any way unhappy with what I'm doing here, he just has to let me know in a Facebook video message so I know who I'm talking to. And I would have taken the videos down then. It would have all stopped then. would have all stopped then because you don't tell Pastor Bob no. I love him, and I would do that. I would do that. And if I knew I was talking to him, I would still do that. I mean, I've been doing this long enough. And what I said on the promo for this show, if you didn't hear it, is that I want Pastor Bob. I don't want to steal his thunder. If this is going to be a special year, let's say it is. I don't want to steal his thunder in any way. So I'll take the less views, and you know, if it gets cut in half, it gets cut in half. People like the live shows, but if I don't put those magic words in there, it often goes way down like a tidal wave, way on down. Yeah, baby. So, if you're Pastor Bob Joyce, if you're really Pastor Bob Joyce, Sabrina has my telephone number. Yeah. So that's it, friends. Have a terrific Monday, and we'll do Midnight Ramblings again. And I appreciate you so much. You know, doing radio all these years, from 77 on up, periods of time, obviously, when I wasn't doing it. But I did a lot even when I was pretending to be a peace officer. That's when I was working at the Christian radio station on the side. So, to be having this experience in 2024, I'm very grateful for it. Very grateful for you. Big God bless you. Good night, everybody.